Well, hello and welcome to the Breakfast of Champions with the selection of the world champions who are attending or are helping here in Slovakia at the Huddy Arena for the two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive world championships. We have a lovely croissant. Anyone would like a nice breakfast croissant? That's fantastic. Yeah, Ryan's gone straight for the beer. Croissant, anybody? They are fresh, and a massive 9 euro cents each from Lidl. I have to say, great value, great value. So with us here we have a range of champions. We'll start with, the reason you're ordered this way around is in order of when you won your first world championship. So we have the 1999 1/8 track champion and 2004 1/10 nitro champion Adrien Bertin, the 2005 two-wheel drive electric off-road champion in Neil Cragg. We have Tebo, the 2007 four-wheel drive and the 2013 two-wheel drive championship. We have Bruno Coelho, the 2015 four-wheel drive electric champion, but also last year won the TC championship, electric TC. We have our Nitro world champion from 2016, Dave Ronnefalk, and Ryan Maifield, who won both these electric champions in 2017. So I'm going to start with our most senior member.
I like the name. Thank you for a senior.
Adrien, you won your first championship in the days before the internet.
Yes.
So how did people find out you won, and how long did it take them to realise you were a champion?
Yes, right after the race, it didn't change much. I would say after the event, you have the celebration, everything, but it was more getting the focus on winning a race, getting a goal and getting a target. What changed is the next time you go to the track or next time you meet the people. It's where you can really feel with the congratulations and also the way that people look at you differently. Personally, it didn't change much my daily life or feeling. I was just satisfied of what I could achieve, but it's more on how the people look at you and keeps looking at you, because even if I'm the older world champion here, but still the people that have interest in RC, they always see you differently. I think it's the time makes you realize that it's happening.
Neil, you won also in a day where we had to wait for the magazine a month later. I mean, how did, after many years of trying, I mean, how did that hit when you came back home and suddenly you were world champion? Did it change people's attitude to you, do you think?
Not really, no, but like Adrien says, the next race you go to, everyone knows that you're world champ. Everyone, you become famous overnight almost, and people want to beat you more because you're the top dog. But nothing really changed, personally or anything like that. It was a dream to win it, not just for me but for my family. My dad's a big part of it, and to win it for him while my mum was still there, it was pretty awesome. But didn't really change anything for me. It was just a title that I always wanted, and I had it, and that was it.
Jared, you won your two titles 6 years apart. Did they feel different, or were they? And were they? Because the first one was still sort of the end of the magazine era, and by 2013 we're in the internet era. Was it different?
Yeah, it was quite a bit different. For me, 2007 was pretty big. Not really sure if it really changed my career, but it kind of solidified to myself that I could do it on my own. My dad was always there before that, so that was kind of like my first really big success working on my cars myself. So I think that changed some of my career, just that it proved to people that I could do it and proved to myself that I could do it, and keep it going. But yeah, that was kind of before the internet, so it was, kind of like these guys said, you kind of wait until the next race. Like I remember going to the 8-scale worlds the next year, and then you see kind of all the overseas racers. You don't see that much, and everyone's saying good job and everything, because there's we're not all Facebook buddies or whatever. Then 2013 was totally different. My wife was there, my daughter was there. The internet was different then, and so that was just really cool having my wife there. So she sees all the hard work behind the scenes and all the ups and downs and everything. So that was really cool. So my both my titles were different. I wouldn't say they were like life changing or anything, but I really wanted to have I'm still chasing the 8 scale. I'd love to have a world title in all the categories that I compete in. That's, a big goal. But super proud to have a 2-wheel and a 4-wheel.
Bruno, you've won two titles. In many ways, the first world title you won, we weren't expecting you to win because you won a 4-wheel drive electric off-road, and we thought, well, he's having a bit of fun. He's going out to China for a bit of a laugh. But were you as surprised as all of us were when you became world champion so early in Japan? Sorry.
Yeah, for sure, it was a surprise for me as well. After the 2-wheel drive, that was a disaster for me. Winning the 4-wheel drive was for sure the best result until today. I was not expected as everyone, but was, I can say, the biggest boon on my career, as I started, I think, like 1 year before, or almost 2 years before. And after that race was a big boon on my career. And as a person, I didn't change nothing at that time. Winning that world championship was very good in many points, bad in other points, but that's
what's bad about winning a world championship?
The people that hate you and doesn't really.
You know who you are. I've never raced you before. I know him. He was just starting.
Yeah, I remember him when he was younger, as well.
We had a nice fight in Euros in on-road in '95 probably.
Yes, in Argentina when I was 14 years old. So many races before I raced it. But yeah, off-road never. So it was my first world champion in 110. So for sure it changed a lot of things for me. It was very good for my career, as a driver, with the sponsors and everything. So for sure, really happy about it.
In many ways, I think, David, you won in the biggest glare of publicity, the Vegas Worlds. It was a massive event. It was very well covered, and we all watched. I stayed up to watch it, even the terrible times. I mean, it must be basically as soon as you won that, did everything change?
No, like all the previous guys have said here. I mean, for myself, I think it didn't change much. Obviously, I was looking for that, to get a world title at any class I'm competing in. It's a great success, and it feels really good, of course. But yeah, just like the others say, like the way that people look at you after that, I think that is what changed the most. Then, of course, winning in Vegas was probably one of the best locations you can win in. Except for that, I was 20 years old, so I couldn't party in the night, so I couldn't celebrate. But I got a lot of pictures and everything from Hakkasan and all these clubs, with people celebrating my win for me. So, it was a disappointing not being 21 there, but obviously I can't be disappointing having a world title and having done it in 8 scale, which is my main class, is something I'm very proud of. It's a very difficult title to get. I think I had some shots in the past. I would say Sicily, I was on a good run there, but I didn't make the main in the end, which was tough that time. But I came back in Vegas, and it was nice to get that one after also having a rough time at the Euros that year. So it was a good title and a good bounce back.
Ryan, we have a saying in London. It's about our local transport. It's you wait hours for a bus and then 3 turns up at once. You waited years for World Championship and got 2 in 3 days. I mean, what was that like?
Yeah, it was a little surprising, honestly. I didn't really go prepare for that event much at all, because I've learned in years past that when I put too much emphasis on one event, it doesn't really go well for me, because just too much pressure. And so I treated it like any event, which, any other event I'm going to. Went there with an open mind, no real, plan of attack. And, it went well. Like these guys said, nothing in my life really changed. I think what it did for me was just kind of like take some weight off my own shoulders, because I put a lot of pressure on myself, and just like everybody does. But yeah, to get 2 in a row, 2 at the same event, I think is good. I think, somebody like Jared to win 2, 6 years apart at totally different facilities, in my opinion, is maybe a little more impressive, because obviously I had the flow of the track and, kind of had that facility. For some reason, it felt good to me. So I would love to be able to back it up, at a different track, obviously, just like anybody would love to back up their world championship. But I think all these guys would agree that winning a Worlds it's not like any other race. We all race in, our country. Bruno is very successful in the EOS. Me and Jared have won 20 plus Roar national titles, the BRCA for Neil. I'm sure Adrien over here has many Euro titles in his classes, you as well. But that doesn't mean anything when you come to the Worlds. I mean, you come here to these events and you're nobody in a sense, because you have no idea what you have on that track. So if you can get one of these, much less some guys like Cavalieri that have 4, or this guy's got 2 in completely different classes, I think that really says a lot about who you are and how you can adapt to crazy situations. So yeah, the Worlds is unlike anything, and all it does, I think, for you, it just solidifies who you are inside and what you can overcome and what you can power through. Because everybody that won these Worlds, they went through, the weekend was not easy for them. It didn't start out probably good. It was super hard, and then they figured it out. So, yeah, I'm the same person I was before. It's nice to have the titles, and it definitely puts a little exclamation point on your career. But it doesn't mean nothing. We got to go get another one.
I think one of the things interesting is really also how RC is seen outside by the general motorsport community. I know that, for example, you were recognised by the Swedish Federation. Was a much kind of sort of general interest in your World Championships in Portugal, Bruno? Did you have kind of the local press and the TV interested in you?
Unfortunately not. So I think as many other countries, they only care about football. Unfortunately for us, but yeah, my federation was super happy. They tried to make the possible to bring all TVs and everything, but nothing show up. So unfortunately, because our hobby, I think, is quite big, and we could have much more like on the media, yeah, but unfortunately we don't have. So
Adrien, you won 2 different championships over a split time. Do you kind of have a favourite child? Is it more you like the one or the other?
I think the first one was great because it was in France, and it's probably has been the best coverage it has been, I think, in my world experience from all the World Championships I've done. I won in front of over 4,000 people. It was a crowd. I mean, the track in Clermont-Ferrand is like it's like a stadium. So 4,000 people cheering from you. The pressure was, the pressure was not high, but it was great. The media coverage was great. We had the TV. We had. I went on the main. How would you say the news at the end, at biggest news in France. So the coverage was great, and of course it was the first one. But I was also on the dynamic of, I would say, my career. I started more as a buggy driver, then I switched to on-road because it was more my skills and my pleasure. But I think it's harder to get the second one because you have to, you learn, and then you have to find all this. It's a kind of feeling that is coming. So the second one was nice. In the between, I changed my professional life because I think maybe like Neil, but not like the other. I've never been a pro driver. I work in the industry, but always had work on the side. It has never been my main focus. So on the second one, it was a new project I was carrying on. I moved to Italy with my family, and I was just joining the Sirio company for engine development to take care about what will be my next step into the industry. And from the start, I could get this title, and like Jared said before, it was a nice thing. Also, my wife, it was my honeymoon, basically in the second race in Brazil, and even had a bet with my wife, and I said, okay, if I win this one, we're gonna get the second kid. So
that's an expensive title.
Yes, yeah, but when you get the title, you get hopefully some money, some deserved money from all the past effort, and I would say I could have afforded a second child. So 2 weeks later, it was done. But anyway,
that's impressive fast work as well.
You have to be efficient. You have to be efficient, and it's how it went. But yeah, the two were different. I can't say one I like more than the other, but for sure the first one for me was my goal because it was a way to be recognized by the industry, and then it gives you more opportunity to reach my goal was to be like I am today, being ahead of a brand developing technical things. It has been my main focus and my main pleasure in the RC. So yes, the first has been important to give a value for that, and then it helped me a lot to continue in my professional career.
Neil, we talked a little bit about the outside acknowledgement of your win. I mean, back in 2005. I mean, did you find you're on Look North or something local, or was it completely ignored by papers and magazines and outside the RC world?
It was pretty much ignored, to be honest. I think I made the radio the next day, Radio 1, which is the main radio station in England. Yeah, I got a little mention, which was pretty cool. But like outside the RC community, no one's, they're not too interested in it. I go back to work on Monday morning and I tell people that I sign autographs and T-shirts and stuff, and they think I'm crazy.
Did you know your wife?
No, I didn't.
Have you ever used "I'm a world champion" as a chat-up line?
It didn't work. She just thinks it's little toy cars. No, I didn't tell her for a long time that a couple of weeks that I race RC cars. It's only when she found out there was money involved, that's when she gets interested, same as every other woman. But been a good time though. It's always nice. Like if you have bad results sometimes, then you think, can I still do this? And I used to be world champion, but my dad always says you're always a world champion. When you win it one time, you'll always be for the rest of your career. So, it's something. I mean, I'm not too far off the end of my career. Let's be honest. I'm a pretty old man now.
No, there is over 40 class.
No, yeah. I'm going to add a couple more world titles and I'm over 40. But, it's something that I'll always cherish,
Joe, you said between your first and second titles, obviously you gained a wife and a family. I mean, how important is that family support when you're travelling the world and coming to all these other world championships? And is it, in fact, you said, is it harder being at world championships without your family, or is it easier being without your family?
I don't really know if it's easier or harder. I was married during my first one as well. No kids or anything. It's definitely a lot tougher now, I think, with 3 kids. I can't just come back from a tough weekend and go like, all right, I'm going to the track for the next 5 days. It's like just scheduling everything like that. So that's a lot different. So my day to day is much different now than it used to be. But it's like Ryan really said, it's just super hard to win. There's so many skilled drivers now. It's tough to compare 2007 to even 2013. It was quite a bit more competitive in 2013, but you really can't compare 2013 to now. The effort that's put in by all the top guys now is so insane, and the pace is so insane. You have to drive so hard, so fast, so precise all the time, and if you make one mistake, you're like 20th for the round or something, or in the mains. I mean, you come up an inch short, jump an inch wide, or an inch long, go an inch tight, inch wide here. It's like you crash and you lose a few spots, and it's hard. The competition is just crazy these days. So I, cherish my titles, but I would love to get another one, Like Neil was saying, I'm super proud that I have mine, and, I'm sometimes feel the same way. If you have some bad results, you're like, man, can I still, win these races? And then you're like, well, I've done it before, racing a lot of the same people. I feel like I can do it again, but, I'd love to do it again.
You did it this year. I think the already race at the same number.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter on. I think that what changed also is once you can reach the title, it's a base, it's a reference for you in your mind. In the hard time, because you have always hard time, it's a reference. You say, I've been able to do it, and it's for me it's something you say. You have always a technical explanation. Today probably the competition is tougher because I would say the product that you can get, technically what you can buy in the shop is enough to win a world title. So you have more skilled driver able to get the stuff good enough, which was not the case 20 or 30 years ago. The technical side, the way you could prepare the car was making also a big step. Today, there is nothing which is really bad. So probably you have to run more into the details or whatever. But the skills is changing. I think the skill are changing because you don't have the same skill at 25, 30, 35. There are some steps that I could feel, and you have to deal with, understand, and work in a different way just to be more efficient. I think Ryan is a very good example of that. I think when he was young, he was widely skilled. I would say the skill was just his main thing. I knew him when he was younger, more skill, less control, still the speed, but never won. He won his title when he has been not the slowest, but the more under control. And you have guys that can get them, who can get it really soon, like probably Adrien and Bruno. But yes, you have to live and learn on that, but you also can work on the fact that there is no reason why at this level that a guy gives you 1.5 seconds per lap because you are not able to drive anymore. It's my experience, and it's also the one I can also share with mainly with David. But if you have the skill and you put the proper work at this level, there are a lot of competition, but I think still very few have the mindset, and the really skill to make the difference at the D-Day. So I think, yes, like Jared said, of course he's older, he has more things, but probably the key is to get a different approach. You can't get the same skill at 20 and 30, especially I think in the buggy classes. Now. Yes. And especially the buggy class. The buggy class is the most difficult because it's the more reactive, the more sensitive. I have the experience of driving this, and it's a different game. And it's like when you do athletics, the young guy, they always have the fast guy. But if you take the marathon, it's not the young guy that are winning. Because it's a different effort. You have to adapt your skill for that. But I think, until 30, 35, there is still something to do. But you have to probably work harder, differently, and take your opportunity. But it's...
So Ryan, do you feel that as well? Perhaps the age is playing against you, or do you think it's you're kind of maturing, as you say, into a fine wine?
I mean, of course age is affecting it. I mean, age affects everything. But I think with age comes maturity and comes prioritizing and, understanding what things that actually matter, to go fast, Spencer Rifkin, now a 2-time world champion. I mean, he loves playing with all these little doodads and gadgets and like, oh, I bought this stiff check thing or I got this shock measuring thing, and I'm like, it doesn't matter. None of that matters. Like, what matters is understanding what you need in your car to go drive. And so, I mean, I think another thing that people probably, I think if I never won a world championship, it wouldn't make my career not a success. You know what I mean? It's really nice to have that, but I don't think you need it to have a successful career in this industry. There's a lot of guys that have world championships that you don't even know who they are. Most people probably don't know who they are at this moment, and they never won a race after that. So I think it's about what, I'm sure Jared and everybody knows that, we're doing this for a living. And you can't make a living at this winning a world championship every 2 years. You got to go to every race, every weekend, and try to win. And, that's what we do. And because of that, that's what has made us a world champion. Because everywhere we go, we put in more effort or the same effort or try to put in more effort than the guy we're racing. And then it all comes together for a weekend, and it can potentially turn into a world championship. So, it's pretty insane, this racing. It's so technical. There's a lot going on, and one setup on your car, that doesn't mean it's not going to work on the next guy's car. You have to get what your car needs, what you need from your car, it's nuts. It's nuts, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Dave, do you feel do you do sort of, as you have this World Championship now, but do you now have a kind of a career plan? Do you see yourself, okay, well, every 2 years I've got a thing I've got to aim for, but do you think I'll be doing this till I'm 30 and then I'll have to get a job like Adrien just supporting me? I mean, how far ahead do you look? You're one of the youngest men here, of course.
Well, I'm 23. I'm not 17 anymore, of course, but obviously, every race I go to, I want to win, and that's what we work for. Me and Adrien.
You got beat today by a 33-year-old a couple times. So
I know.
You can do it to at least then.
So at least 10 more years, then, right? Yeah. No, I mean, for sure. I think the next 10, maybe 15 years, I'm gonna try to go to as many races with a focus on winning. Of course. I think that social media is a big part of your job today as a driver as well, and I'm trying to work on that, making videos here and there at a few races when I have my friends coming with me, because I could try to do it myself, but it's going to take a lot of time for me to make those videos, editing while having to focus on driving. It's impossible. So the times when I can have my two good friends that come with me and making videos and stuff, I think it's great. It definitely adds to it, but the main focus for me is to go to the races and do my best, and hopefully get as many wins as I can.
Bruno, you've got a kind of am I right that you were very close to giving up RC at one point, a couple of weeks prior to it, and suddenly but perhaps you can explain how that happened, how you suddenly didn't give up and you end up with 2 World Championships?
I was on my last year of RC, so I basically started to work a normal job, let's say, and basically my father was paying all bills, so all RC races, national races, he was paying international races, and as soon as I started to get the salary, I said, okay, I don't want you to pay me anymore, so I will start to pay myself the travels, and only when I start to pay myself, I realized how much he spent every month for it. So I was like, okay, I don't want this for my life, because I was going to the European Championships, I was finishing like European champion junior, I was finishing 11 overall, everything, and I didn't have anything from the sponsors. So I started to think like, okay, there's no future for me here. So I said to my dad like, okay, this year is the last year we are going to do. So we went that year to the European Championship in Spain. I bring all my family, girlfriend, everything to just in holidays, And I remember I was there like with one set of tires for all practice, just to have fun. Then on the qualify, I TQ the European Championship, and then on the final I didn't win by my mistake, like no experience, and I finished second. And was there that X-Ray told me like, okay, so maybe you can come to Florida for the World Championship, but I had no more holidays on my work. So I said to my dad, we received the email that day, and I said to my dad, no, I'm not going because I have no more holidays. My job is very good in the moment, so I got a good salary. I don't want to go because I don't have any kind of contract. It was just an invitation to go to the race, just paying the travel and everything. So I said, I'm not going. And then he insisted and said, no, you must go there because we fight all our life to have this opportunity, and now we have it. And I said, yes, but imagine if I'm going there and I don't make nothing special, because they were there testing like 1 month, everybody, all teams. So I was like, I didn't trust on myself, And it was my dad that said, no, you must go. You have the talent, you must go. And yeah, I went there. I quit my job that time. I went there and I finished second. And yeah, after that, everything changed for me. And thanks to my father, basically.
Yeah, I think it's a common theme around here that everyone has started racing as part of a family, and then it's less moved on from there. I mean, it's an interesting thing. I mean, how important? Obviously, we know Pierre very well. How important was your dad to you?
Yeah, basically, so he was into the RC model planes, and that's I went with him to all the fields when he was flying, and at the time I think I was 3 or 4 years old, just having fun on the fields, and I was a little bit too young to be able to keep the planes in the air, let's say. So we had a local track which was like a mini C track, those small, very small Kyosho mini C indoor cars, and he brought me to that track, and first time I got the radio in my hand, I really loved it, and that's how he started. So I think 1 or 2 years later after that, he had to stop flying RC planes and go with me to a couple of local races with the mini C cars. So I did that for I think a year, 2 years, and then I was lucky enough. I had Magnus Amelon, who was at the time #1 in Sweden. He had 7 national titles and a couple of Nordic titles. He was in the world's main in Furulund 2004. He lived just 20 minutes from my home, and he said, he wanted me to come to a 1A track when he was practicing one day, and I went there, and after I was there, that got me a used Kyosho MP 7.5 Kanai 3, and
you are young. We tested that car making the AE car.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was my first car. When he got me that, I didn't run much Mini C anymore. I did the 8 scale instead, and the year after I got it, I basically started racing at the national series in Sweden and such events as that. And the advice I got from Magnus as well was to basically go international racing as soon as we could, because it would give me more experience. So I was racing 2-3 years in Sweden before I went to my first international race, which was in 2005. It was an indoor race in Belgium. So I went there, no expectations, just wanted to have fun and do my best. I ended up in A main. Tortorici won the race, I think. I think also Miguel Matias was there on the podium. And I finished 7th or something like this. So, I started racing a lot of races internationally, as well as doing it in Sweden. So, of course, the support from my dad and my family has been everything, and a lot of thanks for them for everything they stood up for.
I think 3 of you guys have got kids, haven't you now? Do you see another generation? Will you be encouraging your kids to race RC, Jared?
I'm not pushing them at all. If they want to, it's fine. I kind of put a age cap on there. They can't really drive until they're 7. I feel like they're kind of able to actually, hold the radio and kind of handle it. And I don't really need any more cars to work on right now. So when my daughter turned 7, she got a radio, built her a car. She likes the dirt oval. She doesn't really like the off-road. So I built her an oval car, and she drove it a few times. She did 1 race last year. She had a blast, but then this year she hasn't really wanted to at all. I took her to the track a couple times and asked if she wanted to bring her car, and she didn't want to. So, I'm not going to push her or anything. My middle son, Cole, he doesn't really seem like he's going to have much interest. He's more into dinosaurs and Ninja Turtles and any sort of cars or motorcycles. He likes the freestyle side. He doesn't really care for racing. My littlest guy, he's about to turn 3, Nash. He loves racing, cannot get enough of it. I mean, every day he has to go down to see my cars. He wants to drive them. He just wants to hold them. He'll watch F1 with me. He loves cars. So if there's one that's going to race, it'll be Nash. I'm not going to push him. I'm going to probably try to hold him to the 7-year starting limit, but I don't know if I'll be able to. And he asks every day pretty much to drive Dad's broom broom. So I don't know, but we'll see. I'm not wanting to, build some super RC racer, but if they want to, I won't say that they can't. But
Adrien, your 2? Obviously, one of them is a celebration Brazilian win, surely.
It's I have two daughters. Alexia, she's now 19 years old, and the second one, Marie, is 14. So Marie is the one of the title. But as a girl, they were not really focused on the racing. They just see me very few times. I have some years that I'm out of home probably 45 weekends a year. So it doesn't leave much space. I think it's the same for much of the guy here, unfortunately, but it's a part of the job. Hopefully I can work from home, so I have the time to share a little bit of time with her. But they were not really focused, and they couldn't get and understand, I would say, my job until 2 years ago. I raced the Worlds in Monteux, on 1-8 road, and I make a small comeback. It was a nice challenge for me as well for HB Racing to be competitive, but I decided it was my last race I could attend as as not a possible winner because I was starting too far from back, but I just wanted to make a last show. So I put a lot of effort. My daily job for HB, for everything, the time I spend on the racing for the team, and yes, mainly with David, and I work like crazy just to come back, to be competitive, and I have been able to come back in semi-final. I was leading the semi-final, so in front of Simon, so I just could come back where I wanted, and they saw the work I was putting in, and it ended badly. My engine broke at that time, so I couldn't make my last target is to make the main at home. So it was a very big disappointment for me personally, but also for them, and they saw how sad I was because they could understand the amount of effort I've put in for them, for everything, plus for me. And after that, the two asked me to spend time and start driving. So my Alexia asked me. She built her own Cragg car, and she started to understand my passion, and she started to drive. And the second as well, Marie was with me 2 weeks ago at the European Championship. She was my mechanic. So they start to drive, and I was pretty impressed on what they could already achieve. But yeah, it's the experience that I have with my kid that just it has been a declic when they understood what was really my passion and the work behind. So I'm super happy of that. Of course, they won't. Maybe they will make a race one day, but just the fact that they could have shared with me and could understand how much effort they have to put into the daily life as well, even for the work. I think it's a good motivation for them as well for the future, to work, to understand that nothing is free in the life, and you have to work hard, and especially even when you are talented, you can't waste it and work harder for that. So I just hope they continue the life, hopefully.
That's great, lovely story. Obviously, you're a very new father, I believe. Ryan, what are your hopes for your? I'm sorry, I don't know if it's a son or a daughter. Is it a boy or a girl you've had?
Boy.
Yeah. I have me and my wife we have a 1-year-old. His name's Kason, and I have no idea if he wants to race RC cars because he doesn't know what he's doing anyways. So, but I think for me, having a family, it's I don't know. I've prioritized things. I enjoy my family time. And if he wants to race an RC car, cool. If not, whatever. We'll go do whatever he wants to do. I hope he wants to, because I can probably do this for free for a long time and save Daddy some money. But I think it's there's a lot of generational families that have done this, like the Losi family, and Mark Pavitas' son races now, and he does pretty well. And it's I think that's something that we would enjoy, as fathers, if our kids got into it. But if not, it's all good. We'll go do what they want to do. It's fun.
You will discover that it's more stress being. You will discover that it's more stress being a pitman than a driver. I didn't have boy. Let's say I have like a small kid with David, because I think I met him, he was 11 years old, so I also get some achievement. But technically, it's way harder to be under, especially when we all have the control of our cars. We have the skill, but when you are under and you don't have the control, and you know what's going to happen, and it's a lot of effort. But for me, for example, the most emotion I had in my career, and it's not by racing, is when David won the title in Vegas. Yes, because it was also another kind of achievement, and it was also a nice feeling for that.
Guys, thank you very much. Breakfast is over, mainly because Ryan's nearly finished his breakfast beer. So thank you so much for joining us for the Breakfast of Champions here at the World Championships.